US sports apparel maker Nike is facing a backlash on social media in China after saying it was concerned about reports of forced labor of Uighurs in the Xinjiang region. The fallout comes after the EU and the US imposed sanctions on Chinese officials for alleged human rights violations there.
Nike is trending on social media in China, but not in a good way. It's facing a backlash after a statement on China's policies in the Xinjiang province, saying it won't use cotton from the region. And it's not alone. H&M was singled out this week for issuing a statement last year in which it said it was concerned about allegations of forced labor in Xinjiang. Both H&M and Nike's statements haven't been received well by people in China. As Chinese, we must show our patriotism. I don't buy these brands, and now I will ask my friends to boycott them too. Seeing those foreigners making money from China, but scolding it and discrediting cotton from Xinjiang, I will not buy those foreign brands. I will support domestic products. Western brands are caught in the middle of a feud between China and Western countries, which have imposed sanctions on Chinese officials because of the allegations of forced labor. But while taking a stance on Xinjiang cotton is potentially a human rights issue, it could hit their bottom lines in the world's second largest economy.
And DW's China specialist Clifford Coonan is here in the studio with me, while Chelsea Delaney joins us in Frankfurt. Hello, Chelsea. I'm starting with Clifford first because China is making a lot of noise here, and the concerns mentioned by several global fashion brands, they seem to have hit a nerve.
I think so. I think actually what we're seeing here are the opening salvos in what could be quite a serious trade conflict. We've seen it before with Korea, where over political concerns, they used economic weapons basically to attack Korea. We see it with Australia, and now we're seeing it with the EU. And I think this could, what happened, H&M issued a statement in September. Nike's statement was in July last year. So clearly, these aren't new. They're just being sort of weaponized or instrumentalized now to press home China's message that it's angry at the way the EU has introduced these sanctions.
All right, so if we're looking at some real friction there, also in terms of trade, I'm turning to Chelsea now. I wonder, how are global retailers and fashion brands in particular, how are they watching this development, given that China is such an important market for them?
Well, it is going to be a major concern for basically every global retailer if this does escalate. We'd already seen a lot of retailers trying to really insulate themselves from this human rights issue in Xinjiang over the past several years. These statements, we've seen a lot of companies saying they're either going to remove this cotton from their supply chain, they're going to cut ties with suppliers. So they have been willing to take that step, but they can't really afford to lose the Chinese consumer. It isn't the major market for a lot of companies right now. It's expected to become only more important. So this sort of threat that if you boycott us, we're going to boycott you. We've already seen that really being reflected in the market today. For example, here in Frankfurt, the DAX biggest loser today is Adidas, which is also getting hit online in China for these statements as well.
All right, so there are some jitters there, Chelsea. Thank you, because Clifford, this week the EU, together with the US, with Canada, they imposed sanctions on Chinese officials. Beijing didn't take kindly to that. But do you feel that the West is now ready to actually take on China?
I think what we've seen since Joe Biden has come into power in the US, we're seeing now basically a much more concerted effort by the West to address these issues, whereas before was a very fractious kind of approach. And I think that's really going to be, I think that's going to start playing out. It's going to be interesting to see what Germany does, because Germany has really been behind this this trade deal with China. It's very important for the German economy. And now it's going to be a huge question for the big European powers like Germany and France, of course, whether they're going to be able to balance this need for economic growth coming from China with the political with the political aspect about human rights and other areas in Hong Kong and Xinjiang itself. So I think we're in for some very difficult, a difficult period in EU-China relations.
Interesting times, I would say. Clifford, thank you so much. And Chelsea Delaney there, of course, from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Thank you so much.